when I met Jesus Christ. He was almost 10 years old, and he was helping his mother push a trolley full of all they owned. And because they couldn't find an inn they could get in, they were heading to the city and leaving Bethlehem. Couldn't you perform a miracle? I'm out of them, he said. I tried turning nothing into warmth, but it just made my mother cry. It just made my mother cry. Mary Magdalene has become a man, and tonight he's old, and she has been riding my tram. Now it's late and she's trying to sleep beneath a poster for a bank. Your dreams are important to us as it bathes her face in gold. Come give us your natural gifts, we make wealth from toil. Come pretend for history's page that we're advancing Australia fair. Let's pretend that we're all advancing Australia fair. Back down the road I found the church we built on the black man's bones was empty, and out the front a sign read all but sold. A sign read all but sold. And we all owe so much money, but to whom we're not quite sure. So head down, we just keep running along our fading golden shores. So head down, we just keep running along our fading golden shores. Come give us your natural gifts, we make wealth from toil. Come pretend for history's page that we're advancing Australia fair. Let's pretend that we're all advancing Australia fair.
Okay, this is a special. It's a Saturday show. The special today, I'm going to be interviewing Michael Offey. I believe I said that right. This is about this young gentleman here. That's his brother. And if you can't remember his brother, he was the young man who drove the Freedom truck in Canberra. There it is. That's what it was built to be, an entertainment truck. Here he is here, lost in the crowd. We'll bring these images back later. But Paul is a beautiful young man, and he goes to trial on Monday, and he's going to be self-representing because they just can't afford the lawyers. They've already blown 60 grand, and they've got nothing to show for it. So, and I think this is terrifying, actually. So anyway, I'm going to bring in his brother, and let's get started. But this young man deserves our support. He's a beautiful young member of our community. So let's bring in his brother. Bear with me. Michael, here we are, 4 years on.
Good evening.
Almost.
How are you?
Oh, well, you know what I mean? I find this despairing. I can't believe the ACT just hasn't let it go. And just it's obviously this is just someone who took a wrong turn or misheard under the confusion an order. It's ridiculous. But how are you feeling?
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, there wasn't really much given in the way of instructions, and
No.
certainly even less in directions. So it was a very confusing environment and a lot of different sort of ideas getting thrown around. So yeah, it was. You can see how it happened, unfortunately. But yeah, how have
Well,
we been going? Not too bad. Pretty full on, I suppose. But yeah,
how's Paul
it's been
feeling?
a uh, yeah. I mean, ultimately, we've got truth on our side. That's one thing. So that's the positive. We seem to be up against a rather challenging environment down there, I suppose is a polite way
Mm,
to put it.
yeah.
You would think if there was any, uh, I don't know. I still find I agree with you. It's hard to believe that they even ran this case in the first place, because
$100%.
you would have thought that there'd be a
100%.
couple of levels of check over where they would have gone, well, hang on, what was this all about anyway? What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. That's likely end here. I can't believe this is still happening. I think this is why people think, oh, it must have been over. How can it still be going? So I'll just do a quick update for the people who don't know. So Paul went down to Canberra in this uh, big black truck that he bought basically to work on movies and weddings, anything like that. And it was his business because he'd had a few injuries, including a head injury. So he's got a minor brain injury. He's got an arm that doesn't work properly because he's had a bit of bad luck, but just he's got a few injuries that he's carrying. And literally, he went to the march. He was supposed to be, the truck was supposed to be with the other trucks. The big fella got on. What was his name? Uh, no, what's the big Russian guy's name? Um,
Aussie Cossack, I
Aussie
think.
Cossack got on, and Aussie Cossack obviously saw the entertainment value of this truck, so he was getting him to go one way. The cops actually said they could go that way, I believe. And then he turned, and instead of being at the bottom of the protest with the other trucks, he ended up near the top, and all went to crap from then. He stopped the truck. He wasn't doing any danger at all. It was just that it was just intimidating looking truck. I think in the mayhem of it all, and ABC on Four Corners just admitted it's the largest protest in Australian history, which is unusual because the police commissioner of the ACT at the time told Parliament there was only 10,000 people there. So there's a bit of a
He
conflict there
actually,
between
he actually
ABC.
said he actually said six, and then he said, "Oh, possibly maximum of 10."
Okay, 6 or 10, so 6,010. Now the ABC has come out and said it's the largest protest in Canberra's history. Maybe I'd say Australia's history. Anyway, in amongst that, all went to hell. They they basically were trying to lead him away, stopped, and then for some reason they broke his window, pepper sprayed him, and Paul, knowing that if he didn't put on the air brakes, the truck would roll away, and in that crowd, he could have run over police, he could have run over people. It would have been very hard to stop this huge truck. So he put on the air brakes to stop the truck. The police took the air brakes off. Maybe they just didn't know what they were doing. And then Paul got out, covered in broken glass, covered in pepper spray, which is horrendous. So covered in both. So it's not like he could rub his eyes. He might get glass in his eyes. And even under that duress, he pulled out the wires or cables, whatever it is, so that he disabled the truck. So the truck could not move. And he did that to save people's lives. At first,
Yeah,
the police
what he
did nothing. And then they came around and
he
arrested him and
drained.
threw him in jail.
Yeah, sorry, yeah,
Uh,
he drained the air tanks on the air brakes just to lock the brakes on. That was
yeah.
all.
So
All
he
you do is
did
then you
that.
start the truck up and it can then drive off again. But it just meant that
Yeah. So this
because he
young
knew that
man
they were
did
turning the
that.
brakes off.
Yeah. So under duress, covered in glass, covered in pepper spray, this young man did that to basically save lives. So it was
And
a
he actually
cacophony of
had
mistakes.
a piece of glass in his eye at the time, which has
There you go.
then caused a scar, permanent scar in his eyeball.
Can you imagine having pepper spray and glass in your eyes? Because all you want to do with pepper spray is rub your eyes because they're burning, and he'd have glass in there. So and they've impounded the truck. They threw him in jail overnight. They impounded the truck, and he hasn't been able to get it back. He's literally been living in limbo for 4 years, just for taking this one wrong turn. 4 years, and the last time I heard, Michael, I don't know what the charges are now, but the last time I heard, they were getting ready to charge him with trying to run over police, which carries a 40-year sentence. That's what they've been threatening.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
the current charges?
Yeah, the two, they gave him 2 counts of drive at police, which is a bit of a strange charge. It's an open-ended sort of bit loosely worded, and basically, if a police officer is in the vicinity that you're driving in the direction of, they sort of can apply it if they claim that you were trying to drive at them to injure them or something like that. But
Yeah,
the actual circumstances were they were escorting him either side of the truck, as far as he understood, and then next minute
yeah,
they stepped in front of the truck, and from what he could see, because he can't see the same as what there's a lot of visibility issues right in front of the bonnet of a truck.
yeah.
He
I
thought that
might
was
get you
continuing
closer to
to
your
escort him.
microphone. Sorry, Mike. I might get you a bit closer, just so we
Uh,
got volume. But I
is
just
that
want to
better?
show people. Yeah, that's better. Look at this truck. So if you've got a little police officer that doesn't even get his head over the bonnet, and this is a real, Paul's not going to see that you're in front of him. So he wasn't running
Yeah, he
everyone
would have
over.
only
It's just
seen the
impossible to
tops.
see.
Yeah, he would have only seen the tops of their, maybe their shoulders and their head, and that was about it. But
Yeah,
he thought they were just clearing a path for the truck. So
yeah.
he was totally clueless that they had other ideas. I'm not even convinced that they really knew what they were doing, to be honest.
No.
Um, because if they wanted to stop him, it was quite easy to either go and talk through the open window at the time, or speak to Cossack, who was standing on the side of the truck.
Yeah.
Or there's plenty of ways they could easily have, or even just put their hand up and make it obvious they wanted him to stop. Like, it was just
Yeah.
bewilderingly confusing,
Yeah, well,
like
that's
just
right. There was a
bizarre.
huge protest. Here's Paul's website. It's his Facebook page. If you want to go there, Help Freedom Truck. There's videos there of the event. If you were there and you have pictures or videos, this is the place to get them to ASAP, because the trial has been postponed and put off, but now it's going ahead on Monday, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, it's going ahead Monday. It's all a bit of a whirlwind because until 24 hours ago, we thought that the court would understand some significant issues that we were raising that would mean that it couldn't go ahead at the moment. But
Yeah.
that's not occurred. They just are basically hell bent on running the trial now, and that's how it is. So at this point, I don't think there's any option for it not to go ahead. I mean, it'd be great to get it over and done with. It's just really frustrating to be going in essentially fairly poorly prepared because
Well, let's
we
talk
have
about
been,
that. Sorry to
oh,
interrupt, Michael. Let's talk about that. It's how many you've said you've already spent about 60 grand on lawyers, raising money and spending 60,000 on lawyers,
over
and
time
those
it would
lawyers
be
are gone.
close to that.
Sorry, say
Yeah,
that?
yeah, over time it would be close to that. The Yeah, the challenge, I can understand the problem. It's a very complex case, and it's a lot more involved than people first see when they first start looking at it. So we've had obviously 3 different legal teams over the time, and legal aid in amongst that early in the piece, and discovered that legal aid, they won't even run a trial. That was their straight out statement. We don't take things to trial, not in the Supreme Court anyway.
Oh my
So
lord.
their only option was to try and make you plead guilty to something so that you can get a reduced sentence and sort of, everyone will be happy type thing. I think what we've learned in this process, which is quite a rude awakening, is that the legal system isn't really well set up to cater for people that could be innocent. And I
Yeah.
think that's why in my experience of this, I see that that's probably a reason why you get the likes of Lindy Chamberlains and people like that over time that go through hell for years because the system is set up assuming that everyone is guilty. The lawyers assume, because they usually criminal lawyers, they mostly deal with criminals or people that are guilty. So when the random one comes along that's innocent and just been improperly convicted or charged, I should say, there's not a lot of structure in the system to really support that well. If you have, in our case, we needed to raise $250,000 to be able to get a barrister instructed to run a 3 or 4 week trial.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to defend yourself properly, you need to cross-examine the other side's witnesses. You need to bring a decent number of witnesses yourself. It's not a simple, straightforward. Oh, we'll spend a day in court and be dealt with. I mean, you could
Yeah.
do that, but you'd probably lose.
Because you're
So
looking at a
it is
3 week
involved.
court case.
It's booked for 4 weeks. I
Yeah.
would say it would be running for the better part of 3.
And you also
Hopefully,
said that if you wanted a barrister, even a cheap one, you'd be looking at $200,000.
yeah, and that's like we had someone lined up that is good, very good, should be charging half again more or double what he charges, and that was still to run the whole case would have been at least 200. They ended up getting unwell and weren't able to represent, and that's what messed up the matter at the beginning of this year when it was meant to go to trial.
Yeah.
And then we had to look for an alternative barrister, which was difficult as well because the court refused to set the date at a period that the barrister we had found was able to even do it. So that
Mm.
made it even harder. So we never even had a guaranteed alternative barrister because of that. But the court seemed to be quite happy in this case to mess with it in any way they can. This is the only way you can interpret some of the actions. And yes, so that has made it further difficult. We were doing our best to raise the suitable funds to be able to get to that amount, but we just weren't able to get there.
It's a
They
ridiculous
probably could have
amount,
got to half that.
$200,000 for F's sake. Most people couldn't get
Well, it ended up
$200,000
being
because unless
250.
they sold their house.
Yeah, yeah. It's very, very, very challenging.
Now, can I ask you
So yeah,
just another
it's
question? So Paul now is going to represent himself, right?
that's the only option we have, because he
So,
lost
and
his legal team.
yeah,
His legal team only fully pulled out sort of mid to late July. There was a hearing only 12 days ago to confirm that it was ready for trial. We thought at that point that we'd have a good ability to say, no, unfortunately, we're in a disaster here. We need more time to work this out. So I guess the challenge is we thought that we would have a legal team running this that had already been doing a fair bit of work on it, and already had a clue as to how they were going to potentially run it. We hadn't really been planning for us to be running it, and obviously not exactly experienced in that process either. So when suddenly a few weeks out, we find out that you aren't going to have a legal team, and then you find out that the court insist on setting it to continue to trial, even though those circumstances exist. Yeah, so we found out 10 days ago that it didn't matter what we thought, it was going to be going to trial. Which again, questions, and I suppose, I don't know, their answer would probably be, oh, you should have applied for legal aid. We had legal aid 2 years ago. They refused to run a case. They were happy to run
can I
deals and
just
plead
ask? I'm just
guilty, but
reposting this. Bear with me, Michael. I'm just reposting it on Twitter to see if it gets. And if anyone's watching this on Twitter, can you repost it? But I want to say first off, Paul does have an acquired head injury, doesn't he? Brain injury.
oh yeah, yeah, he's got an acquired brain. He's had 3 acquired brain injuries, unfortunately,
Can you
all
tell
within
us how
about a
that
12-month
happened?
session. Yeah, the first one was he was going down to purchase something from someone on Gumtree or Facebook with a mate, pulled up at what turned out to be the neighbour's house, not the correct house, and asked for directions of the people that were standing on their front yard. One of them came out and started talking to him, and while he was midway talking to him, just punched him in the side of the head for no
Like a
obvious
king hit.
reason other than that turned out that the guys were druggies. And then they tried chasing after him as he sped off with the guy sort of trying to get his fists in the window. And then that wouldn't usually be a problem. Like, you would recover from that fairly well. But 10 days later, he was driving his 300ZX that he'd just finished doing a 12-month rebuild on, and from the ground up. Just got it on the road, and had to go pick something up from the city. Drove into the city, and halfway in, someone was not paying attention, and when someone three cars ahead of him was trying to do an illegal U-turn on a main arterial road, the car behind him, who had probably 100 meters of distance behind him at first, just plowed straight into the back of him, big four-wheel drive, caused him major neck and brain injury, basically white matter
Yeah,
of the
like
brain, which
whiplash.
connects all your
Yeah,
severe whiplash. He was ended up the Queensland Uni whiplash investigation unit, who are pretty much Australia's foremost authority on whiplash investigation. When they did a full consult with him, they concluded that he was in probably about the top 3% of severity of whiplash injury that you get. Very rare. And it had to do with the way the car hit him. They swerved at the last minute, which put a big twist on his car, and he was already extending his neck, looking in the mirror, looking, going, hang on, these guys should stop. Surely they'll stop. And so he was twisted the other way, which made his neck even worse. So, and then that was really what set him backwards in that respect, and he was never the same person since.
wow.
Struggles to make business phone calls, struggles to think smoothly, gets sort of he has to concentrate so hard to do what he intends to do that he tends to get stuck on a path
Yeah,
as well, and can't reprocess and work out,
yeah,
okay, hang on, that's not working, I need to change. And that, I'm sure, probably didn't help with this circumstance, in this crowded situation where, you know, it
yeah.
didn't
That's
really
right.
go.
This is
His
these
brain
these are
wasn't
the
quite
things.
catching up
Yeah.
yet.
Now,
Like,
just as
he's
one other
quite
thing.
safe and everything, but it's just his brain in a stressful situation gets a bit sort of on a task.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's got an acquired brain injury. Do you believe that he is up to self-represent himself against an aggressive court who wants to throw him in jail like he's some frigging criminal?
It's going to be challenging. I'll give it that much. But we're not giving up either,
No, I'm not asking
and
you to give up. I'm
that's the
just
thing.
showing you the enormity of what you guys are facing, and
It's
you've already raised 60 grand, and the lawyers
yeah,
took that and took off.
yeah. No, it's definitely challenging. It's going to be challenging, but
Now, just to
um,
bring up one more thing, just to show you how this young man's been tested, and yourself, Paul, because I know you're so close to him. He lost his mother in these last 4 years under quite trying circumstances. What you know?
yeah,
But
it happened. So this all occurred at the beginning of 2022 in February. Uh, Late that year, she got quite unwell. She'd had liver issues from 20 years earlier when she got a chemical poisoning experience.
yeah,
And she nearly, when she went in for, they thought she was going to die in hospital at Christmas um, of 20, I know I'm getting my dates right. 2021 Christmas, so just a couple months before this incident, she almost died in hospital. So Paul's
yeah,
actual plan was he was going down to Epic partly because he'd heard a lot of people were trying to get food donations down there from the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
seen on the Facebook group. So he ended up taking 5 bootloads of food donations down there. And then he was going to be going that rally. He was going to march in that rally. He had no intention of taking his truck in it, and he was then going to head off the next day, like on the Sunday, and head to where he had to go next, down this Melbourne direction. Then he was heading across to see Mum because she'd been unwell, and he was going to stay there and try and look after her for a few months and improve and try and get her back to a bit better health, help Dad out for a while. But yeah, as it turns out, um, in late September of 2022, so what's that, 7 months after this incident, she ended up getting quite unwell and ended up um, falling over a couple of times due to the liver issues and the encephalopathy in the brain, which sort of makes you groggy and not thinking straight. Fell over a couple of times in a period of about 24 hours and fractured a couple of vertebrae in her lower back. So was taken to hospital, and then while she was there, was rather badly neglected. And then 2 weeks later, after she got so bad that I ended up flying down there. We got her back into a ward that was one below intensive care, and over a period of about 3 days, we started getting her back to communicating and normal and being able to eat again. And then she caught a what's it called, a fungal infection that was pretty severe. And the problem with that is it's very hard to treat, and with typical drug methods, and the treatments that they use, the antifungals, are very toxic to the body, and even a person with a healthy liver, it knocks their liver really badly. Well, she had a liver that was about 95% stuffed, and they were then spent about a week trying to manage, or 5 days trying to manage multiple organ failure, balancing everything out, trying to stop her from dying from the treatment while trying to treat her. And yeah, I ended up having to make a call to Paul one afternoon, or about, I don't know, it was about, I reckon it was 12:30. I rang him one day. He'd just finished a video link with a court hearing, and he was in Melbourne at the time. And this was sort of like the last few days of September. I had to give him a call, and I said, "Look, you better get on your bike, because I don't think you're going to see Mum if you don't." So he was on his bike within half an hour. He arrived at about 1 o'clock in the morning, thereabouts, in Adelaide, and we went and saw Mum the next night. It was the only chance he got to see her while she was with her. That was probably got about 15 minutes with her while she was relatively communicating, and that was about it. And then over a period of about another 24 hours later, they ended up deciding that the doctor changed, and he decided to go against the other doctors and turned all her treatment off, and said, "We're basically knocking her off." And we had to sit with her for 2 days while she died. Yeah, and if all this had not happened, there was a good chance that Paul would have been over there and been able to get her back on track without any of that happening. She was only 68.
The other thing that Paul did is, after all these head injuries and troubles, instead of just going on sickness benefits and being a burden to society, I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah,
He
sorry
got
about
this
that.
truck,
Wasn't
and
starting
he
right
did
up.
this truck up to make an income. He was going to have it as like to use. It was actually booked for a movie, Mad Max, I think. He's going to use it in movies. Going to use it for weddings and stuff like this. So he's actually working to build himself a life despite all he'd been through. I mean, this is him. He's just this lovely kid,
Yeah.
and now he's going into the lion's den. Do
Yeah, no,
you know,
he'd basically
Michael?
sorry.
Do you know if they'll let you speak for him, or does he have to, because he's representing himself, does he have to just do it himself?
Technically, unless you've got a lawyer or a barrister there, you can't speak on someone else's behalf. Only they can.
How
So
about a
no,
thing
he'll have to
called,
do it.
I just hear from Mark McFarlane. G'day, Mark. Thanks for this, brother. Can't someone be a
Mackenzie's
Mackenzie's
friend.
friend in court
They
for
can.
court?
That's still not talking on their behalf. That's assisting them on what to say and how to do it.
Oh, okay.
So they still
Okay.
can't talk on their behalf. But yes, that's what will have to happen. So he'll have some assistance, probably from myself. I'm not exactly legally trained, but I've had a crash course over the last few years on how crazy the situation works. But yeah, so see how we go.
Tony
Um,
Nikolic is,
you were,
it's a bit too late now, I think, for Tony Nikolic's overseas, unfortunately. This is,
you were you were saying
this
about him
is,
getting his truck set up. So some people go, "Oh, how does he have a $220,000 truck when he's on a disability pension?" Well, strangely enough, you are allowed to have assets. Some people on disability pensions do actually have, do actually have houses and stuff like that. But what it was he had um, he'd finally had his 10-year legal battle over his injury claims go through. He got a very, very small amount of support for that. And he, like small amount of remuneration out of that, a fraction of what it should have been. And that gave him a little bit of money. He then bought and sold a whole lot of stuff because he's fairly good at that, and managed to build that into more money. And then a friend of his had been building this. Can you just I just need to turn my mic
that's
off
what
for a
I hope,
second and grab
Jason.
the phone call because it's really important about this thing. Hang on.
All right, you go. Okay, we were all at Epic. Okay, there was people who were at Epic. We celebrated. There we were. This is the young man we left behind, our young brother, one of us. We went there. Australia's already said this is the greatest protest in Canberra history, probably Australia. But we formed there, we glowed. And how are we going to live with each other? Well, how are we going to honor Epic if we don't somehow help this young man? I've been doing all these podcasts about it. I wish I was a lawyer. I'm not. I'd be there. I can't believe these lawyers have taken all this money off these men and they've got nothing to show from it. I mean, I just can't comprehend that. I'll just see. Okay, he's back. You
Yeah,
back?
sorry about that. Apologies for that.
No worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
so what I was saying there was, yeah, a friend of his but they'd been building this truck. It's a full custom build. They'd been building it for as a show vehicle for um, big shows that they went
Yeah,
to, trade shows. And
yeah,
they'd ended up changing their plans on what they were going to use. So they offered it to him at about less than half what they'd paid for it because they knew he'd just had a pretty bad situation out of his settlement for his injuries. So they tried to give him a bit of a leg up, you see, which was really kind of them.
yeah,
And that's how he was able to pick it up uh, at a price he could actually do. And then he spent another 12 months doing more work on it, and then he got sponsors. So there's a couple of businesses that sponsored it. There's a $40,000 sound system in it, and fully relined, new lining and interior and all that sort of stuff. And it was set
yeah.
up as a full show vehicle, so it was
Oh, it's an
used.
extraordinary looking truck. You could see that
Oh
many
yeah,
people would use it.
it's the
He's
only
done
one
an
in the
amazing
country,
job. But what I'm saying is he
and
did that to make a living for himself. So he didn't want to be a burden on us. He
yeah,
did this to make a
he
living
was
for himself,
was trying to
despite his
get off a
injury.
pension, that's right, and be able
Yeah,
to do something that would also make other people bring a bit of extra
Yeah.
positiveness to other people's lives. He was trying to do something that would excite people and put a smile on their face.
So I'm just telling people there, if you have video or images from that day, anything like that, either send them to us at cafelocked@gmail.com or get onto the Facebook page here. And this is their Facebook's Help Freedom Truck. And we'll get some images, anything they can use. But we have to ask ourselves, who are we as a community? Because this man went there to help. He helped delivering food. He helped us. You know what I mean? Look at this image here, with the disabled girl. This is a lovely young man who helped us. And I know he helps around too. That's how he's been surviving. People have been putting him up. He's been helping them with their gardening, helping them with work around the house, doing what he can to survive. But he's been in limbo for 4 years under huge stress now. But he's one of us. And so if we just turn our backs and go, oh, well, tough luck, nothing to do with us, then does epic mean anything? Or is it just we think it means something, but it means nothing? There has to be something where we do something. I don't know what we can do, but we have to do it, especially if you're a lawyer or something like that. This boy needs legal help, legal,
If
affordable help. And what I'm hoping is that the judge or the lawyers can see once he's there that they can't possibly do this to this man. They can't possibly have this young man represent himself if he's not up for the job. It's 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 ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Michael, I want to say, and I never get to say this, but you are a wonderful brother. You're just a wonderful brother, man. You've stood by him all this way. You just keep going. You keep it together. I'm sure you've got a lot of tears and anger and frustration inside you, but you've stood by him the whole way. You're a testament. You're a testament to everything that's good about us. You really are. I personally am going to be praying now because I don't know what else to do. People prayed for me when
we're
I was
lucky
in
he brought up
hospital. I got
his,
through it.
well,
If you want to do nothing else, maybe you can pray, but we have, yeah, that's right, Jenny Dean. If every person that was
prayers
actually
can go a long way, that's for sure.
put a $1 in, they get through. But this is simply wrong. This young man, I was there. This young man did not do anything wrong. There was just a wrong turn, a miscommunication in an absolute insane environment where there was people there yelling everywhere, cops there, LRADs, all this stuff going on. And this young man, not from his own, basically, I know he's in charge of the truck, but he just got a little confused, took the wrong way. He had people telling him to go this way and that way. And basically, but under that, once the truck came under attack from the police, because they must have been frightened of it, once that came under attack, he disabled the truck, even though being covered in pepper spray and with glass in his eyes. He still disabled the truck to save both the lives of the police, and the lives of those people around him. Here's another website here you can go to. I'll put this up. This is Paul. Paul.
Yeah, someone was asking where can you donate. Freedomtruck.au as
Yeah, I'm
on
just
the
putting
bottom
it
of
up
my
now.
screen.
Website. So there, it's going up now. I've been following the story sort of from the beginning, really, and oh, go away.
You weren't very far away from the whole situation when it happened,
No,
were you?
I was there. It was literally happening next to me, and it was just madness. There was no reason for the police to attack the truck. I know it looked big and thing, but listen, rather than blaming it's their fault or this fault, basically this is just miscommunication under a lot of stress. We shouldn't even as taxpayers be wasting money trying to prosecute this young man. We should basically just give him his truck back and say, okay, next time don't bring the truck to the protest. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I
Well, he was actually driving with a couple other trucks, and they actually had
yeah,
approval from the police, I believe,
yeah,
from what
that's
we've
right.
been told, to be going
Yeah,
up to
that's
where
what
the
we told
stage
me as
area was,
well.
which was all of like 70 meters away from where he could see it from where
Yeah,
he was. He just got directed in the wrong direction. That's the issue.
yeah,
That was all. It's just simple error of that nature, and if there had been some clearer direction from those that that were there, and ultimately ended up set upon him and smashed his window and arrested him and all the rest of it. If they'd actually just given him some, tried to communicate with him and talk to him, would have been great.
yeah. It would have been that simple. Uh
Mm.
this is so
But anyway,
despairing. We're just trying to. You're trying to hope that within this whole court system of the police who were there, of the lawyers, the prosecutor who's looking at this, there has to be some part of you which goes, this is just not Australian. This guy has been through enough. He's lost his mum. He's had 4 years in limbo. He's lost his truck. He's just been basically drifting around. And instead of fleeing overseas or taking off or vanishing, trying to hide, he's turning up for court, knowing he's got to represent himself, knowing there's a very good chance he could end up in jail. I am. I just don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say.
mm.
This is
Well,
ridiculous. This is preventable. There's all we need is if the judge is watching this, I doubt they are. All it needs is some humanity. That's all. Just a smidgen of humanity and realizing that this is just a mistake and let's just let it end. I'll put the link up above you, Wayne, that's there. We've reached out to Johnny Lada, so Hoodie and Johnny Lada might do a show on you too. I'm hoping they will do a special, so you might get a call from
yep.
them. Any other podcasters, Australia-wide, even countrywide, internationally, this is a story worth talking about because it's basically the state going up against this gentleman. And yeah. Legal aid is no good. They won't take anything to court, Willie. They won't take anything to court. They just want him to plead guilty. Yeah. I'll reach out to Dr. Pay as well. Does Dr. Pay know?
Yeah, I speak to him reasonably frequently. I haven't spoken to him just recently to let him know it's definitely going to trial, but yeah, he went through
All right.
similar craziness a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
days
yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like you,
yeah.
Denise. We're
Another
just lost for
respectable
words.
person in the community that got targeted over silliness.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Michael, is there anything else you'd like to say? Sorry, I've got to go to this other gig now. Is there anything else you'd like
Oh
to
yeah,
say,
no,
brother?
I
before we leave?
appreciate all the support from everyone for sure. As Michael said, if you can share it as much as you can. If anyone wants to go to Canberra and sit in on the court hearings for the next couple of weeks, starting Monday, could be 2-3 weeks worth. If anyone can get there and lend your support, that would be most
What court,
appreciated for sure.
Do you know
Supreme
what
Court
court?
in ACT,
Supreme
so
Court.
Canberra Supreme Court. Yeah.
Supreme Court.
And
The Supreme Court. This is in the
as
Supreme
a f-
Court.
as a
Madness.
few other people mentioned in the chats, yeah, prayers for sure. Uh, God's got a lot more power than these people do, and He can change
Yeah.
people's hearts and minds as well. And that's
Well, I
probably
never
what's
say this,
needed
but
here.
I'm going to be praying for you. I'm going to be praying for both of you.
Yeah.
I,
Well, we were
I
praying
really
for
am.
you when you were going through your fun in hospital recently.
Yeah. And look, I recommend everybody does. A lot of us don't have the money. We
And
don't have the legal skills. This is
yeah,
the very least we can do. Anyone out there with lawyers and stuff, please if you share this, or if you're even better at it, download it, and repost it. And the question I would say to everybody, I'm going to play the song we wrote for Epic now. Epic was something incredibly important to the foundation of our tribe. We were all there from all the different tribes that we became, but for one period we were there and we glowed. It was a spiritual event. And if we do nothing when it comes to helping this young man, then what does it say about us? We're always saying how bad the other side is, but if us million people, I'll just stop this in a sec. If us million people or however many were there just turn our heads and do nothing, it's not our problem, then maybe Epic was pointless. This really is a testament to decide who we are as a community. So please share this everywhere. Download it if you can. Buy a or get an app. There's so many ways. You just put download Facebook video into your Google and it'll download it for free. Repost it. Let's get this out everywhere. And maybe, Michael, we should do updates from the court every night to try get it done, if that's way. You reach out to me and maybe we'll just do little updates from every night. I can do that for you, even if we record it and play it around our other shows. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy
right,
to
let's do
chat to you. Well, how much I'll be able to say, I'm not sure, but there might be some other people in the
just
courtroom that might be sitting in listening that might be willing to also.
Yep. Anyone
get in
there,
touch with
anyone
you
who goes to the
updates.
court, if you want to talk. Sorry to talk over you, Michael. I just got it right in race. Anyone who wants to talk, who's in the court, anyone who could go to court and give us basically an idea what's going on, that could be really important because it could drive the interest in the place. So stay strong, Paul. Stay strong. You're in my prayers, brother. You just do not deserve this. Michael, you're in my prayers too. And I wish I had a brother like you. I really do. I wish I had a brother who would have my back as much as you do. It's a gift. It's a gift. You're a terrific man. These boys have been through hell. And it's time for that to end.
Thank you. All right. See how we go.
Stay strong, brother. Okay, and we'll be in touch. Call me and say this, and if you're allowed to speak, we'll just come on like this, and we'll just do recordings, and we'll play it and replay it, and get people to share it. All right. This is the song we wrote for Epic.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the support.
I wish I could help more, Mick. I really do. I really do. It's so frustrating. You just want to scream, brother. You just want to scream. Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how beautiful we were here. It has that means something.
With the dust
people out there do have money. We have to get behind this boy.
We drove across the Nullarbor, driven by change. There were convoys from Melbourne and busloads from Cairns, where we camped at Wodonga and fueled up at Pheasant's Nest. And there were tears of hope singing through our liberated eyes as we scrawled freedom forever across our government's lives. As we scrawled freedom forever across all our government's lives. And we didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that we were still your mates. And we didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that it was not too late. But our country had gone crazy, corrupted by fear. And before us the long path was already flooded with tears. Yet in Epic we were dancing, for we knew what we'd done. Together we'd made the birth of all our freedoms. And this new cry for liberty were the smiles in our hugs, as the cops haunted our periphery like tyranny's new thugs. But for one night in Canberra, we knew we were aglow, and our luminance was shining like a beacon of hope. And we didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that we were still your mates. And we didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that it was not too late. So never forget how, by just being authentic, we drew a deep line in their cold sand, from a showground called epic. So never forget how, by leading the way, we wrote a fresh song of freedom that you can still sing today. So sing like you've never sung before. Sing now like your soul's found its wings. Sing out like an echo through our time, until our grandchildren are born humming our lines. Until our grandchildren are born into freedom's warm and glorious light. Until our grandchildren are born into freedom's warm and glorious light.